So, what current affairs happened this past week? Updates. What all did you read upon? Mainly Paralympics. In fact, yesterday I put up some update, and today morning I woke up and hurriedly had to change because of other updates. So, what's the Paralympic updates? 29 medals so far.
Winning 8 medals in 1 day.
Right. Then, so Paralympic medal tally. Then what else? What other things have happened?
A B4 missile was successfully launched.
Okay. What type of a missile is it?
Ballistic.
Surface to air, surface to surface, air to air. Do you know what these things are? What are these things? Take a guess. The name itself is pretty obvious.
The way it's launched.
The way it is launched and the target where it hits. Right. So a surface to surface, it launches from the ground and it hits a target on the ground. When you talk about surface to air, launched from the surface of the earth but hits something in the air. And air to air is launched from air. Typical आपने सारे Top Gun movies में air to air. So different types of missiles. So you'll have to know which type of missile it is. Agni 4. Then, so Paralympics, missiles, what else?
PM Modi visited Brunei.
Pune. Brunei, Middle East. Okay. And anything major in that? Other than signing a few Maitri Sambandh and promises of cooperation. Fair. What else? Why do we have dealings with Brunei? Bottom line, Middle East में कुछ भी होता है 99% it is all about oil. Oil वालों के साथ पंगे नहीं लेने के. Okay. What else? Aparajita bill. Finally, something from the thing which is to be taken note of. Right? The क्या नाम क्या था कॉलेज था? RG Kar college incident. Like I said, all the sensationalist news from that may not be relevant, but the Aparajita bill which got passed in West Bengal is definitely something which needs to be updated with. Okay, what else? What else?
Stranded on Friday.
From where?
Space.
From space. It didn't just come from space. If something literally comes from space, then that is a UFO. Aliens. No.
I think it is space.
There is only one thing from which it can come, the ISS.
Yeah.
If it's coming back empty, because if it's coming back from the moon or Mars, then no. Yeah. So it has to come at some point of time, unfortunately, and create a lot of problems. So we still have our 2 astronauts stuck in space because of that. Okay, what else? Couple of other important things have also happened. Chalo. Then let's take a look at the things which I have compiled and then take it from there. Starting with obviously the biggest thing. India at the Paralympics are gold. And if it were just a handful like the Summer Olympics, then practically remembering everything, जो छोटा मोटा achievement हो जाते उसमें ही हम लोग happy हो जाते. But this is such a major achievement that now, yes, gold is worth remembering. So 7 gold medals so far. We've got 4 in athletics, 1 in shooting, 1 in badminton, and 1 in archery. Out of which 6 men, 1 woman. So Avni Lekhara for women's 10-meter air rifle, standing position shooting. Nitish Kumar, men's singles, badminton. Sumit Antil for men's javelin throw, athletics. Harvinder Singh for men's individual recurve, archery. Dharamveer for men's club throw. Now, that was a sport which I was not aware of till India got its gold medal. Did anybody see or at least try to see what a club throw is? Club. If you have seen bowling pins, it looks something like that. And they just throw. You just sit and you just hurl it. And they have to stay seated and they can't move. Right? Yes. So it's basically how strong your arm is. So Dharamveer got it in club throw. And the best thing was, I think even the bronze medal in the same event was also a double podium finish for India in that event. Okay. So Praveen Kumar, men's high jump in athletics. Again, an amazing clip. If you have seen the way, I think he's disabled by leg. It's only one leg. The way he jumps, itna do paun ke saath main aadha nahi kud paun. And finally, Navdeep for men's javelin throw, F41 category in athletics. So 7 gold medals so far. Important to know the names and the event. Navdeep also broke the Paralympic record. Yes. And just within the last 15 hours or something. Yeah, just within the last. Yep. I think there was a disqualification or something for the gold medalist because of which it got switched, right? Yeah. As far as I remember, I last read the news, it was a silver, and then I was updating and then I saw gold. Then some disqualification se hi hota hai ye mostly. Okay. Are we done on this? आगे बढ़े? Yes. Okay. So the individual tally for gold and overall tallies. So 7 golds, 9 silver, not solver. And 13 bronze medals, which brings up the total to 29 so far. Let's see. Originally, when the reports were in and the games were starting, India apparently had a target of 25 medals, which already seems to have been surpassed. Let's see whether we can cross 30 now. Unless some very rare disqualification in some previous event happened, but let's not hope for something like that. Huh? Yep. So let's see. 29 as of now, which is a pretty decent tally. Okay. Big news. The 23rd Law Commission of India. What exactly is a law commission? What is the purpose of a law commission? Right? So the main purpose of any law commission is to review the Indian legal system and suggest improvements. Because law cannot be static. As recently seen, we used to follow the codes of 1870s, whether it was the Indian Penal Code, IPC, the Criminal Procedures Code, CRPC, the Indian Evidences Act, all of them established under Lord Babington, Thomas Babington Macaulay. So recently, 23 May, they passed the bill and they implemented it this year, June or July, where we have the 3 new codes, the BNS, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, and so on, right? So you need a law commission to keep checking whether the laws which are currently being followed in India are actually relevant or are they outdated. So the 23rd Law Commission will consist of a full-time chairperson who's basically heading the commission. There will be 4 full-time members, which will also include a member secretary. There will be ex officio members, 2 members who basically are the secretaries of the legal and legislative department. And finally, there will be up to 5 part-time members. That's the structure of the Law Commission. The Law Commission, now we'll have to see the appointments. Basically, who becomes the chairperson of the Law Commission and so on. Okay. This is where you'll have to keep a update. Whenever you come across who has been appointed as a chairperson, you'll have to update your notes.
There's this one particular law that I read about that allows the Indian Navy to fight in court, appoint a lawyer to fight in court.
मैंने पढ़ा है.
मैं कल ही पढ़ा हूँ.
When we talk about contracts, do you remember I asked you what is the difference between a natural person and a juristic person? What is the difference between a natural person and a juristic person? ये तो multiple times मैं बोल चुका हूँ. Who is a natural person in the eyes of law? Any human. And who is a juristic person in the eyes of law? A non-human entity which is given the status of being a person. Right, and for juristic person other than companies, I would talk about the Ayodhya verdict, Ram Janmabhoomi case, where Ram Lalla Virajman, the deity, was one of the petitioners. So it's not a singular law. There's an entire provision in many laws where non-human entities will be given the status of a legal person. Reason being, if it is not a human being, it does not have rights or duties. Technically speaking, only a human can have rights and only a human can be punished or can execute duties. So as to not create legal problems in the future, they keep this provision that non-human entities will be considered as juristic persons. So deities are included in that. And when I also would talk about many companies, they often register some deity as one of their partners or something. Absolutely can be done. Chalo. Okay. The Aparajita Anti-Rape Bill of West Bengal. So some of the provisions, and this was apparently passed keeping both the TMC and BJP, ऐसे तो झगड़ा करते रहेंगे, but in this type of a bill, there is very little chance somebody would actually oppose it. Who the hell is going to oppose such a bill? So some of the provisions is life sentence without parole. Do you understand what is meant by parole? Temporary या ये भी हो सकता है. See, for example, if I have been sentenced for 10 years imprisonment, so there is a minimum duration for which I will have to be kept in prison. Let us assume for the timing it is 5 years. So after the 5th year, there will be a committee, a parole committee, which will examine how my behavior has been. And if it feels that I have, मेरे को अच्छी खासी सजा मिल चुकी है, then they can give me a parole, which basically is my sentence can be reduced. Or for some particular reasons, if a person needs to come out, for example, let us say there is a death in the family and this person has to perform the last rites or something, or any important thing like that, then for that parole can be given, which is temporary relief. Right. So life sentence without parole is when the sentence is given to you, under no circumstances will you even be considered for parole. Right. So life sentence with parole, life sentence without parole is where whether the person, the convict, can be considered for reduction of sentence or not. So life sentence without parole and a financial penalty on top of that. Okay. The next, if the offender's crime leads to the victim's death or leaves the victim in a permanent severely disabled state, then capital punishment. What is capital punishment? Death sentence. Now, in many countries, including some people in India, actually find capital punishment for rape as counterproductive. They say it is dangerous to give capital punishment in cases of rape.
तो सुसाइडल लोग करेंगे ऐसा?
Huh?
तो सुसाइडल लोग रेप करेंगे ऐसा कुछ?
No. हाँ.
wrong person को
No, a wrong law doesn't convict a person and award the capital punishment with little evidence. No, they say it is dangerous for the victim. Capital punishment to the offender is dangerous to the victim.
केस करेगा तो नाम
it's not as torturous as
What is not as torturous?
the rape cases as it's like the victim is actually always the death is very slow for them. And like that is the
It's not a moral thing, it's a practical thing.
I mean,
So-
I remember somebody died to revenge.
It's not a moral thing. Directly to the victim, it is dangerous if there is capital punishment for rape. Huh?
रेपुटेशन रिलेटेड
Nothing related to that.
It would be dangerous for them, not only revenge. I mean, if somebody died, then
See, one school of thought, it says that if a rapist, once the rape has been committed and the rape victim is alive, but supposing the rapist knows that if I get caught, then I'm anyway going to be facing the death sentence. Then they will say, अगर मैं पकड़ा गया तो मरने ही वाला हूं, तो might as well kill the victim. पकड़े जाने के चांसेस कम है और पकड़ा गया तो एनीवे मुझे मौत की सजा मिलने ही वाली थी, तो why should I leave the victim alive? Some people say for anything the death penalty is actually dangerous for the victim, because if the perpetrator is aware of the death sentence, then they will actually try to kill the victim to not leave any evidence. So it actually endangers the life of the victim to a larger extent. That's one school of thought. Should be aware of this. Okay. Then the POCSO Act, which is basically protection of children from sexual offenses. They are trying to strengthen the POCSO Act to increase the safety and rights of minors. Done? Okay. Then, in case of acid attack convictions, there is life imprisonment without parole. Yeah, are aware of what are acid attacks? Terrible things. Okay. A special task force called the Aparajita Task Force will be created to speed up the entire legal process. So the accused must be charged within 21 days of the initial investigation, and the trial itself must be completed within 30 days. Again, opponents of speedy trials exist who claim that if you put a deadline like this, effectivity of the investigation may not be there. So दो धारी तलवार है. Deadline नहीं रखते तो धीरे 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 they won't care. But if you keep a deadline, they might do a shoddy job just to meet the deadline, and justice might not be dealt. So it's a very dangerous thing. Either way, it is dangerous. And specifically for medical personnel, they have enhanced the security. 120 crore rupees will be set aside for improving security, especially when they're traveling. This is the Aparajita bill of West Bengal.
So pass हो गया?
हाँ बात होता है।
कौन अपोज करेगा? Think politically.
नहीं भाई इमेज खराब हो
Aparajita, see, there can be any name given. Now, for this you have to understand politically and marketing. Say, if I call it the Prevention of Crimes Against Medical Personnel in the Workplace Bill versus Aparajita Bill, which one is easier to connect with the audience. Like the Nirbhaya case, right? Nirbhaya was the name given to the victim. And now they've literally created the Nirbhaya Act or Nirbhaya Law, Nirbhaya Task Force. So whenever any name like that, it makes it more human. Right? For example, do you know what are known as the Vishakha guidelines? What are the Vishakha guidelines? Yes, but what are the Vishakha guidelines? Sexual harassment against women at the workplace, right? So if I call it the prevention of sexual harassment against women at the workplace bill, it's a mouthful and nobody is going to. You just call it the Vishakha guidelines. It makes sense. So I think so. So Aparajita is no specific person. It's just, for example, in the media now the name which is being given to the victim is Abhaya. Like Nirbhaya was the name given to the victim because the law says you cannot reveal the name of victims of abuse. Huh? Some politico female did it. And then uske khilaf bhi action karenge, an apology and this and that. The point is, however, the name of the victim cannot be revealed. So media will not find it sensational if they say a woman. They need some name because it makes it more human. That's why they give some name. For example, do you know in American police system, who is a John Doe?
जिसका
कोई नाम नहीं होता उसको John Doe. In India also, I think for any unidentified male, the name is Ashok Kumar or something. They give a name. I know the name. I've forgotten it. But they don't. They give for any unknown person they give a name. So in US, if they say a John Doe has been found, basically they're saying an unidentified male, or for female it is called Jane Doe. So in India, an unidentified male is referred to as, I think, Ashok Kumar, but you need to check. Okay. Okay. Now, this happened, I think, a couple of weeks back. Somebody did mention unified pension scheme for employees. So just the key features is, one is a guaranteed pension. So whatever was the last year of their employment, whatever was the average basic pay for them, they will receive 50% adjusted on how long they have served. So you understand how salaries work, right? What is meant by a basic pay? What is a basic pay when it comes to a salary? So in salary structures, the basic pay is what you receive for working there. Then there are allowances on top. Depending on your position, you will have a travel allowance, dearness allowance, home allowance, lot of different allowances. So any calculation is usually done on your basic pay. That is the minimum amount that you are receiving as salary. Then allowances are other things for helping you perform your work. So whenever any such thing comes, normally they use the basic pay to calculate things. So basic pay is, for example, even in the corporate world, and many of you, आप पूछोगे sir package कितना है? Salary package. So why do they call it a package? What's the difference between a regular salary and a salary package? So package is your basic pay plus all the allowances you get on top. And in companies, एक step आगे जाते हैं. They call it CTC. Have you ever heard of the term CTC?
Which corporate?
It's a corporate term. So, okay, in big colleges, you would have heard, उसका तो यार 2 करोड़ का CTC लग गया.
CTC is more meaningful.
CTC is less meaningful. CTC बेकार होता है actually.
Stock option.
हाँ, CTC actually means cost to company. So when they say he has got a CTC of 50 lakhs per annum, people think, oh, जेब में 50 लाख साल में आएंगे. नहीं, 50 lakh is his cost to company. वो जब कंपनी में आता है तो वो जो लैपटॉप पे काम करेगा वो भी कंपनी का कॉस्ट है. वो जब चाय पीता है वो कंपनी का कॉस्ट है. वो जो एसी उसके लिए खर्चा होता है वो कंपनी का कॉस्ट है. बाहर जो सेक्रेटरी बैठ के सबका ये कर रही है वो कंपनी का कॉस्ट है. फिर अगर उसने अच्छा परफॉर्म किया तो उसको जो बोनस मिलेगा वो कंपनी का कॉस्ट है. अगर उसको स्टॉक ऑप्शन प्लान्स दिए जा सकते हैं तो वो. सो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन बेस सैलरी, package and the cost to company. So when you see any fancy figure कि इसकी 50 लाख की लग गई है नौकरी, पूछो बेस पे कितना है कॉस्ट टू कंपनी कितना है, बिकॉज कॉस्ट टू कंपनी में अप टू 30, 40, 50% आपके जेब में ही नहीं आएगा. So please don't get fooled. Understand the difference between these terms. Don't get impressed by big figures if they are cost to companies. Cost to companies are not what you get.
तो टैक्स तो बेसिक पे लगेगा ना.
Basic pay, whatever you get, whatever you earn. The CTC is not necessarily the amount that you get.
तो अलाउंसेस पे क्या लगेगा.
Structure पूरा अलग होता है. पूरा, what do you think CAs study? And why do you think CAs? Because it's a किस पे लगेगा, किस पे नहीं लगेगा. मेडिकल अगर अलाउंस मिलता है तो क्या मेडिकल पे लगेगा. अगर मैं खाने पीने का खर्चा करता हूं कंपनी के नाम पे तो क्या उसका बिल सबमिट करके उस पे मुझे टैक्स रिबेट मिलेगा. That's why you need a good chartered accountant who will tell you कौन सी चीजों को आप क्लेम कर सकते हो. Anyway, so minimum pension guarantee is if you are a retiree but with less than 25 years of service, then provided you have worked at least for 10 years, you will guaranteed get 10,000 rupees per month. So there's a guaranteed pension, there's a minimum guaranteed pension. And if the retiree passes away, then the immediate family will get 60% of the last drawn pension. And the most important thing, it is inflation adjusted. You understand inflation? And if you don't, ask, because सबसे खतरनाक चीज is inflation. It is typically what बुढ़ा लोग like me keep saying. हमारे जमाने में 15 रुपए में पेट्रोल भरते थे पर लीटर, अभी 100 रुपए देने पड़ते हैं. हमारे रुपए में 1 रुपए में दाबेली मिलती थी, अभी 25 रुपए में मिनिमम आती है. So my point exactly. So the rise in prices is your inflation. आज की तारीख में अगर मैं बोलूं कि 2 लाख रुपए is the income of the person per month, then you will not be very impressed. ठीक है, 2 लाख में तो ठीक है, हाँ बेसिक बंदा होगा. हमारे टाइम पे 2 लाख रुपए हो आया, मैं अहमदाबाद से पास आउट करके हार्वर्ड करके एकदम करोड़पति बंदा, जो आपको आजकल करोड़ में इतना ये नहीं लगता है. लाइक लखपति तो even an office boy would be a lakpati. So lakh की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, right? Why? Because inflation changes things. So if supposing today I'm going to get 1 lakh rupees as pension, 20 years from now 1 lakh rupee per month may not make sense. So they are going to adjust this according to inflation. So accordingly, if the inflation happens, the pension will also change accordingly. That's why we are going back to that era where सरकारी नौकरी अगर मिले तो अच्छा है. Done? Okay. Electricity supply to neighboring countries. We are having our nearest country having Panga right now, which happened, right? So the Ministry of Power has modified the guidelines to import or export electricity. The act was import-export cross-border of electricity 2018. They have modified the guidelines. It is modified, not modified. Basically, what the modification is, it allows power plants that export electricity to neighboring countries to sell their output back in India. Originally, if a plant had permission to go, they could not actually sell in India. They had to sell it to the neighboring country. But now, because of Bangladeshi things, उतना electricity मेरे को बेचना नहीं है. So can I sell that electricity to my own country? Earlier you could not. So now they have changed the guideline. I think Adani is one of the beneficiaries of this. होना चाहिए ना, उनके कंट्री के पंगे की वजह से मैं नहीं बेच पा रहा, तो मेरा नुकसान क्यों हो? And legally I should be allowed to sell it back then. Also, It allows sale of power to the local grid if there is a delay in payment from the neighboring country. बाजू वाले ने इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ले लिया, बिल नहीं भरा, मैं क्यों नुकसान करूं, तो मैं भी अपने ग्रिड में बेचूंगा. Obviously, because of the Bangladesh unrest, the rules were amended. So the chief Indian suppliers to Bangladesh, they include Adani Power, National Thermal Power Corporation, Damodar Valley Corporation. 3 major companies which used to sell power to Bangladesh. This was Adani Power since 2023, NTPC and DVC. Got this? हाँ जी.
अगर अदानी ने जनरल क्वेश्चन है, झारखंड में पावर प्लांट आ रहा
हाँ.
है, बांग्लादेश को इलेक्ट्रिसिटी सप्लाई कर रहे हैं, but झारखंड में neither does the government wants to focus on development.
Yes.
तो वो वहाँ पे पावर प्लांट डाल के बांग्लादेश को सप्लाई करे, the government is completely okay with it.
Do you think any entity setting up a huge thing like a power plant and selling it to a neighboring country would do so without government permission?
So, but how is the government completely fine with it?
What is the problem?
Export to
Hold on. What is the problem?
The electricity should be primarily हमारी country में होनी चाहिए.
Okay. So you are assuming कि झारखंड में power ही नहीं है.
No.
It's there.
emergency.
And do you think they would have given permission without some condition is that you have to set up something for this and then you can set up another thing to sell somebody else? I'm not saying this is reality. I'm saying if I were in the government decision making authority, then obviously my condition is if you are able to provide this much to this, then I will give you permit to do it with others. No company is going to set up just like that and start exporting and without government intervention, especially for cross-border things. But it is important to have such things. Multiple reasons. One, you obviously want to earn a lot of foreign exchange. But more importantly, you need to have good relations with other countries. And what are various ways in which you can have good relations? One of them is providing them infrastructural help. And the more happy your neighbor is, the less likely they are to attack you. So it is a security thing also, right? Why does one of the reasons why any country goes and attacks the other country is because they are not satisfied with what they have. So one easy way to make sure that our borders are protected is to make sure they don't have a reason to come and attack. No country will attack a poorer country unless they just want to grab the resources. Mostly they will attack which country because they are poor. They want the riches of the other country. Make sure they don't have a chance like that. Okay. UP has come up with a social media policy. And the weirdest way I was traveling back home this is one of the weekdays, and I just switched on the radio. I have this habit of listening to radio. And which way I said, they were talking about social media policy. Social media policy क्या होगा? Okay, आप social media कैसे use कर सकते हो? नहीं. Influencers के लिए policy है. They are going to pay influencers to promote government schemes. मैं बोला हद हो गई. जिसको हम छपरी कह के गालियां देते थे, they are actually more important than even teachers. टीचर तो बेकार है आजकल. इसलिए बोलता हूँ बेटा लोग पढ़ाई बंद करो सब. लॉ तेल पीने गया, IPM YPM सब तेल पीने गया. छपरी बनो, मोबाइल लेके घुस जाओ हर जगह पे. सरकार भी तुमको लाखों में पे करेगी. And I'm not even kidding. In fact, if you see me closing down IQ Ideas and starting chapri work, then believe me, I'm going to be rich.
Sir, आप भी IQ Ideas बंद कर दो.
मैं तो बंद करके सोच रहा हूं. One more initiative like this अगर गुजरात गवर्नमेंट देती है या नेशनल लेवल पे अगर पॉलिसी आ गई, कल बंद ऐसा बाल के ऊपर नीचे करके कपड़े फाड़ के नीचे करूंगा. देखना करोड़पति.
नहीं करोगे ना.
गंदी वाली इडली बेचूंगा. इडली जो खरीदने आएगा उसको गालियां दूंगा. मैं अगला बड़ा पाव गर्ल.
गलत बोल दिया।
Yes, very consciously I use the word. जिसकी जेंडर आइडेंटिटी कंफ्यूजिंग है वो ज्यादा बिकता है. Can understand the frustration. Okay, so UP cabinet for primarily obviously to regulate the content on social media platforms, but social media influencers can earn up to 8 lakh rupees per month. Almost a crore a year by just promoting government schemes. Those who don't have an Instagram account, don't have a YouTube channel, don't have accounts on X and other things, stupids. अंग्रेजी मैथ सब करते हैं. सोशल मीडिया पे अपना अकाउंट बनाओ एंड छपरी पना चालू करो. This is to create job opportunities for residents within the state and elsewhere. Yeah, elsewhere यानी मैं भी एक्चुअली कर सकता हूँ. IQ आइडिया बंद आज से. Please like, follow, share and subscribe. But how many of you actually are like, sharing, subscribing our accounts on IG? शाम तक नहीं हुआ सबका cancel admission.
आईडी पे अकाउंट
हाँ? जो करते सब्सक्राइब वो भी मेरा कंटेंट देके अनसब्सक्राइब कर देते हैं. लेटेस्ट स्लैट एग्जाम का डेट नोटिफिकेशन, आईलेट का नोटिफिकेशन आ गया है, मैथ्स के लिए ऐसे करना है. कल से छपरी कंटेंट आएगा मेरा. ओके, सो बेसिकली देयर आर 4 कैटेगरीज फॉर द पेमेंट्स, राइट, एंड मैक्सिमम 2 to 8 lakhs depending on what platform you are promoting and what type of content you are putting there. There will be a digital agency called VForm which will manage all these advertisements, and if there is any objectionable content or anti-national, anti-social, fake news or inflammatory post, then strict action will be taken. So, थोड़ा संभाल के छपरी पना करो. वो देख चालू हो गई कंटेंट बनाना अभी से. इंस्पायर हो गई मुझसे. नहीं, आई एम नॉट इवन कंप्लेनिंग. में लगे रहो, मोनेटाइजेशन का आधा मेरा. डन. सो टुडे यू लर्न हाउ टू बिकम रिच. छपरी नहीं बोलने का. सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर, नेशनल सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर.
Basically, the amount of one is equal to the money you spend, right? Different.
Sadly, it seems to be true because the more chapri you are, apparently, the more followers you have. The more followers you have, the more reach you have. The more reach you have, the more you have spread the message.
I mean, it is.
Okay. Doubtful voters. The term has come up in Assam where they have identified about 1.2 lakh people as D or doubtful voters, with almost 41,580 of them being foreigners. So basically they are voters, but they are not supposed to be voters.
बोला ना अभी आधार एप्लीकेंट
Right? पंगे हैं कि ये साला वोटर लिस्ट पे तो है लेकिन एलिजिबल नहीं है, तो लिस्ट पे कैसे है? So they have identified almost 1.2 lakh people who are doubtful voters. It is specific to Assam as of now because migration and citizenship are big issues. Technically, you have to be a citizen of India to be eligible as a voter. So illegally, somebody is migrated, illegally, somebody is residing and has managed to get voter card, voter identity card. They become voters without even being citizens. Should not be allowed. Sadly, this is not a new thing. This concept has been in Assam since 1997. असम का ज्योग्राफिकल लोकेशन क्या है, कहाँ पे है और उसके बाजू में क्या है? थिंक अनरेस्ट कहाँ पे चल रहा है? People will always try to go somewhere where they have a better quality of life. So as of now, it would be Bangladesh. I'm not saying all of them are bad. What I'm saying is many of them are refugees, but they don't come legally. Kya? I don't call them dumb. They, in their mind, they are not doing anything illegal. They assume by coming and staying here for a long period of time, they are automatically citizens. Not everybody knows the law, right? आम आदमी को जाके पूछ, एक गरीब बंदे को जाके पूछ जो who has run away from his place and come here, how much of they simply assume जहां पे रह रहा हूं वहां का मैं सिटीजन हूं, तो वोट तो मुझे कर सकता हूं. On paper and legally they are not. So don't blame. Few of them might be actually doing it for anti-national purposes. Majority of them are simply not aware of things. But sadly, it is a bad thing. You have to be a registered citizen. That's why they're coming up now with that Citizenship Amendment Act and all the lists, which some people are in favor, some people are against. The entire point is this. Are you a citizen of India?
Yes.
How do I know you're a citizen of India?
Because I'm born with my passport.
Proof कहाँ है? आधार कार्ड तो बिना सिटीजनशिप के भी लोगों के पास है सबके पास पासपोर्ट. पासपोर्ट सबके पास नहीं होता लक्ष्मण. सब कोई ट्रैवल नहीं करता लक्ष्मण.
यार आप सामान में फंस गए. ऐसा
मैं हूं ना. शाहरुख खान मूवी मैं हूं ना. चलो मैं छपरी भी नहीं बन सकता. मेरे रेफरेंसेस तुमको समझ में नहीं आएंगे.
छपरी बनने के लिए मैं
Birth certificate only tells you that you are born in a place. Does India give you birth based on land or based on parentage or what? And birth certificate बनवाने में कितना? First of all, does everybody have a birth certificate? Recently, because systems are in place, that documentation has become streamlined. वरना पहले तो birth certificate documentation was bad. You look at parents or your grandparents' document. आधे documents तो होते भी नहीं है. Ask how many of your parents or grandparents have a marriage certificate. नहीं होता है यार, नहीं होता है लोगों के पास. हाँ क्या हुआ? मेरे पास है कौन बोला? Okay. Now, the term D or doubtful voter technically is not defined in the Citizenship Act, nor is it in the citizenship rules. It's only a term which has come up in Assam. Legally, it is not in any of the citizenship acts. What the citizenship rules of 2003 basically does is that they are trying to create the process for creating National Population Register and National Register of Indian Citizens, or the NRC, against which a lot of agitation happened a few years back. Some people say this is similar to the kind of registry which the Nazis used to maintain to identify who are Jews and then exterminate them. Some people say it is not that. It is simply so that we know exactly who are Indian citizens. दोनों, huh? Okay. Done with this, e-voters. Okay. Rajasthan and MP chief ministers are now developing a new religious circuit called Shri Krishna Gaman Path. It's for tourism and culture. And it will just connect all the places associated with Lord Krishna. Like with the Ram temple coming up, now there are lot of Ramayan circuits where you can visit places as mentioned in the epic. So similarly, now they are coming up with the Krishna Gaman Path, which will follow the life and times of Krishna. Mathura, Vrindavan, Dwarka. More than religion, it's actually a good measure for tourism. It develops tourism. More tourism develop, more money you get. Done? Okay. New India Literacy Program. पढ़ेगा इंडिया तो बढ़ेगा इंडिया.
अभी तो छपने वाला है.
हाँ?
अभी तो छपने वाला है.
सरकारी कंफ्यूज कर रही है. पढ़ के चपड़ी बनो. हाँ. You understand what is the difference between education and literacy?
This is the ability to read.
Literacy is just if you are able to read and write your name in a language, you will be considered literate. So, you don't need to be able to read Shakespeare. So, when we say Kerala has 100% literacy,
Everybody.
it does not mean everybody has a degree or even a diploma. It only means everybody has the basic ability to read and write one particular language.
लोग तो ये सब भी
क्या
अच्छे से रहे. बहुत सारे लोग को
क्या
लिटरेट भी नहीं. बहुत सारे लोग अपना नाम लिख बोल नहीं पाते.
Why are you amazed at that?
तो वो ना एस्ट्रोलॉजी चीज है लाइक कि इतने आगे आके भी नहीं लोग नहीं लिख पा रहे, बोल पा रहे, अपना नाम लिख.
Now you can understand the type of feeling I have when people can't solve question of maths. I'm just trying to relate. See, it is good that you are in a place where you have access to a lot of these things. But same thing, हर किसी के पास नहीं होता लक्ष्मण. You go to, why talk about rural areas? Even in urban areas, you go to the low income families, you go to families below poverty line. Do you think everybody has access to schools? Have you ever been to a not so well developed Sarkari school at a basic level? Have you seen the dropout rates, especially of females? Do you know one major reason why a lot of girls don't go to schools, especially government schools? The biggest reason why girls don't go to schools, government schools, and you'll be, खून के आंसू रोएंगे लोग. If you know, washrooms नहीं है. They don't have access to clean washrooms. Stupidest reason for us. तो washroom तो हर जगह होगा ना. They don't get access to clean washrooms. लड़कों का क्या है, कहीं पे भी खोल के. But you have to understand, for females, it's not easy. So simply because they can't access a washroom, they drop out of school. One of the biggest, so two things government is doing to ensure that this doesn't happen. One is obviously access to clean washrooms everywhere. That's why you have the toilet scheme and everything. Second, the midday meal scheme has been launched years back because many low income group or below poverty line parents would say that अगर मैं अपने बच्चे को स्कूल में भेजता हूं तो वो काम करके पैसे नहीं कमाएगा. They want and वो पैसे नहीं कमाएंगे तो खाएंगे क्या? उसके खुद के उस बच्चे को खिलाने के लिए मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है. So I am forced to make the child do labor so that I can get money to feed the child. So they say send the child to school. एक वक्त का खाना उसको स्कूल में ही मिल जाएगा. And it is a major incentive for a lot of families. Okay, if I don't have to make the child work so that I can feed. If the feeding of that child is taken care of by school, I'll send. So they are able to reduce the dropout rates simply by introducing such things which we take for granted. आज ब्रेक में भूख लगेगी सब भागेंगे. कार्ड स्वाइप करेंगे, जीपे करेंगे, 3 digit का sum you will spend without even caring for it. That is almost 1 week's budget for many families. 100 रुपया दिन का वो बोलेंगे सर 100 रुपया में 4 दिन में खा लूंगा. गिल्ट ट्रिप हो गया सबका. चल आगे बढ़ते हैं. So the National Literacy Program, it is defining the terms literacy and full literacy, and it wants to promote literacy among people of ages 15 and above. It is centrally sponsored scheme over 1,000 crore rupees over a period of 5 years, 22 to 27, has been approved for this. and basically they want to increase the number of learners annually by 1 crore.
Educated but uneducated.
Bhanela is literate. Ganela is educated if you understand Gujarati. You understand Bhanela? Do you understand Gujarati? No. Haan. You may know how to read, but that doesn't mean you have critical thinking skills. Educated, we assume it means you have developed certain critical thinking skills. In fact, NILP talks about that. 5 components. 1, foundational literacy, which is ability to read and write. Critical life skills. Basic education, vocational skills, continuing education. It's not enough you know how to write. I mean, a classic joke, but being educated means you know that tomato is a fruit. But being knowledgeable means don't put it in a fruit salad. So knowing things and knowing how to utilize those things is one fundamental difference. Okay. How they're going to do this is they're actually going to go door to door and survey. And then, of course, technology may mobile app registrations. And they are going to try to get a lot of volunteers to simply teach and use online resources on something known as the Diksha platform. I don't know whether you're aware of this. Years back, they launched something called a Teach India campaign. If you have heard about it, where anybody could register with the Teach India campaign and they would allot volunteers to teach at specific levels. So when I was in college, I had registered with the Teach India campaign and they sent me to an Anganwadi to teach toddlers, basically babysit toddlers for 2 months. Happily did that. Fun. So even today, I think the Teach India campaign still exists. So if there are people who are interested in these things, you can actually register yourself as a volunteer, where they can send you on weekends or whenever your time is convenient to teach whatever subject you are comfortable with to whatever target group that you want to teach. You can teach toddlers, you can teach young primary students, you can teach middle school students, whatever subjects. You can simply volunteer to spend your time to teach. And it's a great campaign. Done? क्या वो कोई प्लान कर रहा है टीच करने का? It's actually a great initiative. And if not anything, here's a more incentive for you guys. You can add that to your resume and it adds value to your resume. So it comes out of social work and it gives you huge value on your resume. Okay. The National Medical Register portal. Every MBBS doctor who is eligible to be registered in India will be registered on the National Medical Register portal by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. I hope you know what are professional registries. Once you complete your LLB program, you cannot automatically practice. You have to be registered with the Bar Council of India. In Gujarat, we call it Sanad Lena. Right? आप सनद लोगे, उसके बाद ही आप courts में practice कर सकते हो. Similarly, even after your MBBS degree, you have to be registered with the Medical Council of India to be eligible to practice. So every MBBS doctor who is eligible for registration will now be registered on the National Medical Register portal. In short, if you are going to a doctor, you can check online whether he's actually registered to give you medicines, because not every proclaimed doctor is actually a genuine doctor. Fake doctors bahut hain. So now it will be easier for citizens to identify whether this bugger is actually registered to give a treatment or not. And it is more common than you would think. Again, this is limited as of now to allopathic doctors, not Ayush. Remember Ayush?
Yeah.
Ayurvedic, Yogic, Unani, Siddh, and Homeopathic. This will be only for allopathic doctors as of now. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Similar will be for paramedics and other healthcare professionals. And it will basically keep the name, address, and qualification of every doctor who is licensed. From where can we apply? Isha, you are asking for Teach India campaign, just go on. Up to I don't even remember. Tab to online nahi hota tha. They used to give advertisement in newspapers, hold meetings, and we had to go to places to get registered. But now just search for the Teach India campaign online. If it is still running, there will be a digital portal for that. Yes. Huh?
You have to graduate by 2025 for the next round.
Achha, it's only for graduates. Now they're making it more robust then. Us time pe anybody could literally register for it. Okay. Indian National Space Day. We started celebration of Indian National Space Day on August 23rd, 2024. So the first time we have done that. But why is this date significant? This was the successful landing of Chandrayaan 3's Vikram lander on Moon's southern pole. So to mark the successful landing of Chandrayaan 3's Vikram lander on south pole of Moon, we celebrate August 23rd, starting 2024, as the Indian National Space Day. Even if Teach India campaign you can't register, there are a lot of other NGOs where you can actually volunteer to do these things. Like Visamo Kids comes to mind. You can associate yourself with the Blind People's Association, right?
Blind people
It's great.
has great internships and that too.
Yes. And it adds a lot of value to your resume, but more than resume building, it's a good thing. But let this be your incentive. Great for college applications. Okay. Blah, blah. Now the theme for celebration was touching lives while touching the moon. India's space saga. So original. Ah. Huh? Sounds creepy at times.
Touching lives.
Chalo. Just the date and the achievement is important here. Done. Liquid water found on Mars.
Liquid water.
Yeah, because solid water is ice
Yeah.
and gaseous form can be vapor. The reason why specifically liquid water, we mentioned the state, because if water in liquid form is found, that means sustainability of life can be thought about. Till now, a lot of places where water has been found, but it is either in the gaseous or solid form, which may not be enough to sustain life. But if liquid water exists somewhere, it either such life can be sustained or life could have existed in the past. Theories. So large amount of liquid water actually has been found within Mars's rocky crust. We have already known that there is ice at the poles of Mars, but now even in liquid form it's there. So University of California, National Academy of Sciences, this water is just 10 to 20 kilometers deep. 10 to 20 kilometers within the crust of anything is crazy. In India, in the world, on Earth, some of the deepest holes are not that deep. So they have identified it way below, huh?
So we are using
Yeah, the devil's hole. It's called a devil's hole or something. But human beings can't. They've just dug that hole, but human beings can't go there. Because it's the logistical problems with digging a hole that deep is crazy. They believe this water found there could fill an ocean which is almost 1 to 2 kilometers deep across the surface of Mars. So agar somehow we are able to tap into this water, then yay, let's waste water. और कुछ नहीं तो होली जाके खेलेंगे. Okay. Hayao Miyazaki has won. Yep, Ghibli Studios. Yeah, Ghibli Studios. He has won the Ramon Magsaysay Award. He's basically a film director and co-founder of Studio Ghibli. What is Studio Ghibli, if you know about it? अच्छी एनिमेशन जाके देखना पड़ेगा. Okay, Why Ramon Magsaysay Award is because it is called Asia's Nobel Prize. It's equivalent to the Nobel Prize but limited to Asia. Some of the past winners include Kiran Bedi, IPS, and Arvind Kejriwal. But the Ramon Magsaysay Award is one of the highest awards in Asian region. Okay. Lot of known people have won this. Who was Ramon Magsaysay, by the way?
Philippines president.
Yep. Which organization has announced removal of AI-generated images of dishes from its platform after customers complained about the misleading visuals? There is a clue in there. AI-generated dishes, misleading.
ITC?
Zomato. अगली बार Zomato से ऑर्डर करोगे और एकदम मस्त तगड़ा बर्गर दिख रहा है, इट कुड हैव बीन AI जनरेटेड. इसलिए साला जब देखता हूं इतना मजा आता है, ऑर्डर करता हूं, पांडु जैसा आता है. इसलिए कंप्लेन करके दे हैव बीन फोर्स्ड टू रिमूव. एक्चुअल फोटोज डालो. हाँ? जैसे कि अभी एकदम एक्चुअल फोटोज होते हैं. ओके. कंपल्सरी मिलिट्री सर्विस.
Armenia.
Because of rising tension in Europe and increased military activity in the Balkans.
Ukraine.
Good guess, but no. It's neither Russia nor Ukraine.
Poland.
Israel.
Europe, Israel. बेटा geography 101 क्लास लूंगा.
Poland.
Europe. We are talking about Croatia. Many countries already have compulsory military conscription. That's why reintroduce. Okay. Who banned the Clooney Foundation for Justice, founded by George Clooney and his wife? Because they accuse the foundation of conducting activities aimed at discrediting Daesh and supporting false patriots. X is the same entity. So which entity has banned the Clooney Foundation, saying कि आप हमारे खिलाफ कर रहे हो?
Crown.
Not an individual. It's a country.
Country. Middle East का कोई country नहीं.
No. हाँ? चाइना में अलाउड भी था. बैन करने के लिए पहले अलाउ तो होना चाहिए. हाँ? बैन करने के लिए पहले अलाउ तो होना चाहिए. अलाउ ही नहीं करेंगे तो बैन करने का टेंशन ही नहीं. हाँ? Yep. It's Russia. Okay. So Russia basically has banned the Clooney Foundation. And his wife, sadly, I should have edited this. His wife is actually more relevant to the world than he is. George Clooney is married to whom?
Georgia.
Sad. George Clooney is famous because of being a Hollywood ka chapri. Amal Alauddin ka naam suna hai? I'm not sure about the last name's pronunciation, but she is one of the most renowned lawyers fighting for other things. Environmental concerns is one of things, and she is the one relevant. But sadly, it is George Clooney that everybody knows and not Amal. She's more famous for being a lawyer than anything else. Okay. In which state's Shahjahanpur, women initiated eco-conscious version of Raksha Bandhan, tying Rakhi to trees and offering fertilizer in place of sweets?
Shajahanpur among these include Delhi.
Delhi is not a state per se, and Delhi does not have that things. So your other guess, Uttar Pradesh. You can make a smart guess like that based on the name, because Shahjahanpur Mughal name, so it has to be some place Mughal. Or other in most of North या तो गुजरात, but गुजरात में पता होना चाहिए शाहजहांपुर सुना नहीं है. So educated guess would be UP. Okay. Which country has called back ambassadors to all these countries and ordered them to return to the state capital?
India.
Why would India call back its ambassadors from various countries? Why would China do? Think logically.
Bangladesh.
Oh,
When there is panga happening in a country, that's the reason why you will call back. So think of conflict-ridden places. Currently, Bangladesh would not be Russia or Ukraine because the conflict has been going on for very long with no recent big thing. So the biggest thing happening in geopolitics is Bangladesh. So it makes sense to have Bangladesh ambassadors back. Okay. ICC Women's T20 World Cup 2024.
UAE. India.
United Arab Emirates.
So that's total.
The United Arab Emirates will hold ICC Women's T20 World Cup 2024. Okay. India's first reusable hybrid rocket was successfully test launched in which city?
Hyderabad.
Geographically nearby. Is not a city, is a state. I want a city.
Bangalore.
Tamil Nadu is a state. I want a city.
Bangalore.
He got the state right.
पृथ्वी को सबने कुछ तो
तमिलनाडु के कितने सिटीज जानते हो तुम लोग? तिरुवनंतपुरम इज केरला.
चेन्नई में हो गया स्पेस पोर्ट वाला है कुछ तो था
बट इंडियंस वी बिलीव इन रीयूज एंड जुगाड़. रॉकेट में भी हम रीयूज करेंगे. ग्रेट.
ना वो भी कर दिया ना इलॉन मस्क वाला क्या था
SpaceX.
हाँ वो भी कर दिया
Basically shuttles. But this is hybrid.
उनका तो था फैल्कन मैन को रोक दिया और
Obviously.
सर अपने लॉन्च कर रहे थे ना टीसैट 20 ऐसा कुछ
बहुत कुछ कर रहे हैं. बहुत कुछ कर रहे हैं.
फैल्कन मैन रुक गया तो
वो तो दूसरी, ये नहीं तो दूसरा सही. अपनी कौन सी उससे शादी हुई हुई है? होगी तो भी डिवोर्स करके दूसरे के साथ. टेंशन नहीं लेने का. इसीलिए अपने हर किसी के साथ डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस रखते हैं. पंगे लेते ही नहीं है अपने. Maharashtra's first solar village.
2024.
हाँ.
21st century.
Is Satara. डेट नहीं पूछूंगा, प्लेस ही पूछूंगा, जगह ही पूछूंगा ना. Why would I ask for a date? Dates are not relevant mostly. Satara. Okay. Dipti Jivanji won which medal in the women's 400 meter events? Huh? Which meter? Which? No. No. This was the bronze. Only one woman has won gold. Avni Lekhara. Dipti, female name, so cannot be gold. Huh? Beta PT Usha was an abled. This is disabled. If she destroyed the record of a disabled in athletics, mind blasting hoga. No disrespect, but let's talk a little bit logically. PT Usha was an abled athlete. This is a disabled athlete. A disabled athlete in running, defeating the record of an able athlete is like me defeating Usain Bolt. In running, huh? I can defeat him in probably a lot of things like eating or something, but okay. Ye to obvious. The Aparajita Women and Child Bill, Government of. Okay. The State Assembly of which state recently introduced a new legislative practice of zero? First of all, what is zero hour? So before 30 minutes का time duration होता है before the actual proceedings, where you get 1 minute to say or speak or put a question or whatever. No, no, it's Himachal Pradesh. So Himachal Pradesh has introduced this concept of zero hour. It's not technically in the rules of parliament. This is before the question hour, and this is for 30 minutes. You get 1 minute to raise urgent matters of public importance. Okay. Exercise Varuna, a bilateral naval exercise between India and France. Done? Okay. Durand Cup, which sport?
Football.
Is football. Okay. The Global FinTech Fest 2024 was held in the city of
Bangalore.
Bangalore. Would have been a good guess for tech. This is FinTech. Fin is finance.
Mumbai.
City.
Mumbai.
Mumbai. So finance and technology, finance capital is obviously Mumbai. Pure tech, we can go with either Bangalore or Hyderabad. Okay. Which ministry recently launched the Retired Sportsperson Empowerment Training Program, or the RESET program? No, I need the exact name. This is for retired sportspersons. BCCI, first of all, is not a ministry. और लॉ का रिसेंट पेपर में तो मैंने डिस्कशन किया, पेपर में नहीं बट कल मैंने डिस्कस किया, बीसीपी एक क्वेश्चन में था, बीसीसीआई इज नॉट अ गवर्नमेंट बॉडी. 24 घंटे भी नहीं हुए यार. दिस इज द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ यूथ अफेयर्स एंड स्पोर्ट्स. स्पोर्ट्स इज नॉट जस्ट द नेम, इट्स यूथ अफेयर्स एंड स्पोर्ट्स. एग्जैक्ट नेम. Sports में you retire. At what age? You don't become a Buddha and retire from sports. People in their mid-30s are considered very old for sports. Recently, Youth Congress का leader till recently was Rahul Gandhi at the age of 40 plus 50. But anyway, in sports, late 20s, early 30s में तो you practically retire. Very few, I mean, there are sports which don't require physical fitness. Then you think like,
Yes.
I was going to say chess, but even chess over a period of time, you cannot. Right? So 30s में retire होना is very common in sports. Okay. This to be did today. D voter is in the state of Assam. Okay. 5th September, Teachers' Day. Who was Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan? Second President of India. Okay. Who won the gold medal in men's F51 club throw at Paralympics? Nabin was javelin. I gave you all the names in the beginning. This is Dharamveer. Okay. Which state is going to build a Vedic 3D museum at Sampurnanand Sanskrit University, focusing on Indian astrology, astronomy, and Vedic literature?
Bihar.
Bihar would have been a good case. Nalanda and other things, university, but no, it's not Bihar.
West Bengal.
Maharashtra.
Literature and other things, I would say yes. But currently, Indian Vedic literature with current government there,
Maharashtra.
doubtful. Huh?
Madhya Pradesh.
Yogi Baba. Okay. Which institute has inaugurated a new campus in Abu Dhabi? Which one?
Delhi.
There are 22 of them. IIT Delhi has inaugurated a new campus in Abu Dhabi. It's not the first IIT to have a campus outside India. IIT Madras has one in Zanzibar. अबू धाबी तो फिर भी सुना हुआ है, ज़ांज़िबार है कहाँ आदों को नहीं पता. अफ्रीका, अफ्रीका. Okay. अरे GNLU has multiple campuses. एक गांधीनगर, एक सिलवासा. दो ही है. और कितने चाहिए? Okay. This. हाँ?
सिलवासा के लिए हमको डोमिसाइल नहीं मिलेगा अहमदाबाद रेसिडेंट.
Domicile is state domicile, not city domicile.
बट मैंने ऐसा पढ़ा कि नहीं
अप्लाई करते वक्त अगर ऑप्शन है तो सिलेक्ट करो.
नहीं सिलवासा के लिए नहीं है सिलवासा
चेक. मैं बोल रहा हूँ अगर ऑप्शन देते हैं तो ले लेने का, नहीं देते हैं तो नहीं लेने का. नॉट एवरी NLU हैज अ डोमिसाइल रिजर्वेशन.
नहीं ये जो सिलवासा मेरे साथ वो बोल रहे थे कि दादर
दादर
सो चेक व्हाट इज द कंडीशन एंड अप्लाई. अंग्रेजी पढ़नी आती है वरना NILP काम आएगा, नेशनल लिटरेसी प्रोग्राम. ओके. Sumit Antil, second consecutive Paralympic javelin gold. Okay. Which is the first Indian company to surpass 10 lakh crore annual revenue in financial year 2023-24?
गवर्नमेंट है कि प्राइवेट है.
Think.
सर इज इट लाइक पेट्रोल वाली?
It's not just one thing. We already got the answer. Reliance Industries. Some people say they could have doubled the entire revenues. Unfortunately, शादी में खर्चा हो गया थोड़ा, वरना डबल हो जाता रेवेन्यू. कोई वो कहाँ है? आज नहीं आई है लगता है ना. केशल हाँ गारंटीड जवाब देती. जैसे 2 दिन और नमूने भी हैं. Which state is going to host the first Formula 4 car race in South Asia? मैं मतलब Formula 1 मेरे को पता नहीं, Formula 4 भी होता है. Any idea what is Formula 4? Because I have no clue. अच्छा, बीच में 2 और 3 भी होते हैं. रणजी ट्रॉफी क्या होता है यार? इतना भी पैदल नहीं जानता हूँ रणजी ट्रॉफी क्या होता है. Okay, so which state is hosting South Asia's first Formula 4? State. तुम लोगों का स्टेट एंड सिटी का लोचा क्यों होता है? But I'm just asking the state. So good enough if you tell me Tamil Nadu. Which state is planning India's first solar-powered expressway by 26?
राजस्थान.
UP. Now this is a term I learned recently कि ऐसा भी कोई स्पोर्ट होता है. So Andre Agassi is going to inaugurate India's first pickleball world ranking tournament in which city?
महाराष्ट्र.
तुम लोगों की ज्योग्राफी इज
मुंबई.
न्यू दिल्ली.
नहीं
First of all, do you know who Andre Agassi is? Legendary tennis player. आजकल ये राफा, नडाल, जोकोविच सब छोड़े आए हैं. During his time, Andre Agassi was top ranked in the world. Okay. First Indian woman to win 2 Paralympic gold medals. गोल्ड ही एक है. That should be the same female. Avni Lekha for which event? 10 meter pistol. Okay. Reliance is also now getting into tech. AI. They are going to launch an AI platform for stuff.
ब्रेन का कुछ.
It's called the GeoBrain. Who has partnered with Bharti Airtel to bring exclusive offers for music and video streaming services in India?
Like state.
Company for content.
Amazon.
Prime.
डिज्नी तो हॉटस्टार के साथ है.
Netflix now.
All of them are already content platforms. Very well known company. Now it is going to bring streaming services in India. Amazon Prime already is a streaming service. This thing does not have a streaming service as of now. But a very, very famous company and products. Huh? Tech. Not for streaming. Competitor.
Apple.
Apple. Apple का कौन सा iTunes and वो सब है. Are they streaming services? Are they streaming services? Famous in India? Is it just a store for music or is it a streaming service like Netflix? हाँ तो इंडिया में है पॉपुलर. सो भारतीय एयरटेल के साथ अभी ऑफर आएंगे आपको रोज. डू यू वांट एप्पल प्लीज सब्सक्राइब. मैं भी कर दो, मैं भी छपरी बन के इसको प्रमोट करूंगा. ओके. Amazon's AI shopping assistant is known as Alexa. Is an AI assistant, not an AI shopping assistant. This is exclusively for shopping, enhancing your shopping experience.
Echo.
Echo is the device. Alexa is the thing on that, but exclusively for shopping. They have come up with a very goofy sounding name. Rufus. That's why I said very goofy sounding name. Rufus. Okay. Who became India's first civilian space tourist and the second Indian ever to go to space? The first one was obviously Rakesh Sharma. So this is Gopichand Thotakura. First Indian civilian space tourist. Okay. Which state government is approving a 33% reservation for women in the police? Rajasthan. Surprising how nobody comes up with names from the Far East. सब mainstream states के नाम लोगे. गोवा नहीं बोला किसी ने. मिजोरम, नागालैंड, मेघालय, त्रिपुरा तो आता ही नहीं है जुबान पे.
वो लोग खाली exist कर.
Okay. World of Fashion. India's first fashion forecasting, which will use AI to provide trends for the fashion industry. अगला छपरी trend कौन सा है? Like a few years back, there was this trend of cold shoulder dresses, जहाँ पे ये सब कटे हुए होते थे. Not off shoulder. Off shoulder is when the entire thing is down. Cold shoulder is यहाँ पे कटे होते थे. My theory why cold shoulder dresses became fashionable was because around that time COVID came, and then easy vaccination ke liye maybe they used to provide that. But then why not for men? Only girls used to dress that. Terrible thing. You never know. Aajkal I am open to everything. Okay, so the initiative by the government is called Vision Next. Union Minister Giriraj Singh has launched a fashion forecasting initiative using AI and emotional intelligence. कि आगे फैशन में क्या फैशनेबल होगा, इसीलिए AI यूज करें. नेचुरल इंटेलिजेंस से आता नहीं है आंसर, इसलिए आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस से करेंगे. How do you forecast a trend? चलो, We will stop here and resume by 1:30. Any questions asked? Barna, tata, bye bye. See you.
Bye.